Okay, let's dive into this. Welcome to today's explainer. Today we are stepping right into a survival story. But look, this isn't your typical story about surviving a shipwreck or some crazy wilderness expedition. It's about surviving life itself when the bottom literally falls out. We're going to uncover the 2,000-year-old philosophy of Stoicism, but we're doing it through a narrative, the story of a person facing sudden, overwhelming adversity. And by the end of our time together today, you're going to see exactly how these ancient concepts serve as an absolute, unbreakable mental armor.
So I want you to put yourself in the shoes of our protagonist for just a second. Imagine waking up to a sudden, catastrophic event, a total upheaval of your life. Really picture that terrifying moment where the ground completely shifts beneath your feet. What actually happens to a person when everything they've worked so hard for is suddenly ripped away?
For our protagonist, the reality is it's devastating. Your money? Gone. Your reputation? Ruined. Those careful, meticulous plans you made for the next 5, 10, maybe 20 years? Completely erased. Now, for the vast majority of us, facing this absolute devastation means immediately drowning in a sea of panic. You hyperventilate. You freeze. You feel like your life is entirely over. But, as we're about to see, the Stoics approach this exact scenario in a completely different, almost superhuman way.
Chapter 1. When everything falls apart. So how is that kind of peace even possible when your life is literally burning down around you? Well, our Stoic mentors, Marcus Aurelius, who was a Roman emperor, Epictetus, a man actually born into slavery, and Seneca, a brilliant statesman, they all knew a shared secret. Actually, a quick fun fact for you. Epictetus literally means acquired in Greek because he was born a slave and his true name isn't even known. Yet despite their vastly different stations in life, they all agreed on this one thing. True strength does not come from trying to control the world around you. When our protagonist loses everything, the natural instinct is to scramble, right? To try and fix the external reality, to force things back to the way they were. But the real Stoic secret is realizing that unshakable peace relies entirely on mastering your internal responses.
Which brings us to Chapter 2, the illusion of control. And this brilliantly illustrates the core of the issue. Think about the things we constantly try to control: the weather, what other people think of us, unexpected setbacks. The Stoics tell us that fighting these uncontrollable events is quite literally like standing on the beach and trying to command the ocean to stop waving. No matter how hard you yell, those waves are going to keep crashing. Now contrast that with what we actually control: our thoughts, our actions, our attitude. When you stop fighting the ocean and start focusing on steering your own ship, you actually start working with reality instead of constantly battling against it.
Let's just sit with this powerful wisdom from Epictetus for a second. Some things are within our control and some things are not. I mean, it sounds almost too simple, doesn't it? But when our protagonist internalizes this, like truly internalizes it, something miraculous starts to happen. That crushing anxiety of losing everything, it actually begins to dissipate. You simply draw a line in the sand between what is yours to manage and what entirely belongs to fate.
Chapter 3. The power of perspective.
Now, what's really interesting about this is how it proves that events themselves don't actually hurt us. Imagine two different protagonists. Both experience the exact same devastating event, losing their career unexpectedly. Person A sees it as the end of everything. They completely fall into despair. Person B, on the other hand, sees it as a new beginning, a chance to finally start that business they've been dreaming about. Same exact event, two entirely different realities generated purely by interpretation.
Marcus Aurelius captured this perfectly. He wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it." Think about that. Our protagonist's suffering isn't actually coming from the loss of their money or reputation. It's coming from the story they are telling themselves about that loss. Our minds have this terrible habit of making problems so much worse. We turn a simple delay into a massive disaster, or a small criticism into this deeply personal attack.
To stop this spiraling narrative, the Stoics developed a technique that we can call the Stoic pause. On one hand, we have the default human panic response. When adversity strikes, we immediately cry out, "Why is this happening to me?" It's a victim mindset, right? But on the other hand, we have the Stoic pause. The Stoic trains themselves to stop, take a breath, and ask instead, what can I learn from this? By simply changing that one question, our protagonist fundamentally shifts their entire experience from being a helpless victim to an empowered student.
Chapter 4. Embracing the storm.
You know, there is a massive misunderstanding out there about the word acceptance. People often think acceptance means just giving up, rolling over, and letting the world walk all over you. But Stoic acceptance is absolutely not weakness, it is pure wisdom.
Imagine our protagonist standing in the middle of a massive hurricane. You can stand there and scream at the wind all you want. You can curse the rain, but guess what? The storm doesn't care. Acceptance simply means recognizing what already is, because it's only when you stop yelling at the storm that you can actually start building a shelter and respond intelligently.
So, the crucial point is this transformative concept, amor fati. It literally translates to the love of fate. The Stoics didn't just want our protagonists to merely tolerate the storm, or just put up with the job loss, or grit their teeth through bankruptcy. No, they wanted them to love it. Why? Because when you truly embrace amor fati, you realize that every single setback is a character-building opportunity. You learn resilience not in the calm, but right in the middle of the chaos.
This is perhaps one of the most famous Stoic ideas of all time. Again, from Marcus Aurelius. The obstacle is the way. The very thing blocking our protagonist's path today, the lost reputation, the ruined plans, is the exact material required to forge their strength for tomorrow. The tragedy isn't in the way of their life. The tragedy has literally become the path of their life.
Chapter 5. Polishing the Gem. Seneca provides us with this incredibly profound metaphor. A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials. We spend so much of our lives wishing for a completely frictionless existence, don't we? We think our difficulties are just these annoying interruptions to our real life. But Seneca reminds us that the trials are the training, that friction is the very thing that polishes our protagonist into someone brilliant, resilient, and totally unbreakable.
Let's move to the next part and see how this builds into an actual, actionable daily routine. Whenever something goes wrong, whether it's a catastrophic loss or honestly just a bad day at the office, our protagonist uses these 3 exact steps. Step 1, they ask, can I control this? If the answer is no, let it go. Step 2, what is the wise response? Meaning, how can I act with dignity right now in this exact moment? And step 3, what can I learn? These 3 questions, when used daily, act like a forge, transforming every single hardship into virtue.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, I'm turning the narrative completely over to you. You've seen the tools the Stoic masters used. You've seen how true strength is deeply internal, how your perspective changes your reality, and how friction creates the gem. Look, the storms of life are inevitable. It's definitely not a matter of if you'll face sudden adversity, but when. So I leave you with this final thought. When your sky goes dark and the wind really starts howling, how will you react to your next obstacle? Keep these ancient lessons in mind. Embrace the friction, and I'll see you in the next explainer.